Beautiful. That was played live by Paul Hilliard and his original composition. Paul will be sharing music and speaking today. Good morning, I'm Beverly Pryor, and I am the minister here at Unity of the Hill Country. And I'm trying to change it to speaker view. There, Mandy is the speaker right now, apparently. Do you see yourself, Mandy? Okay. I'm not sure why I'm not showing up, but anyway, welcome. And let's just take a moment and get centered in prayer. We'll just close our eyes together and take a deep breath in and release. And another deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we just let go of any of the hurry and the busyness of getting online this morning and allow ourselves to just drift into that beautiful music that Paul's just playing for us. We just open our hearts in gratitude for this opportunity to come together, the fact that we can come together, that we can stay connected, that we can hold on to the very truth of our being. We can know who we are in these days of uncertainty. What we do know for sure is that we are a divine expression of absolute good. For this truth and so much more, we just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Okay, let me go back to sharing. Our opening statement that we share every week is there's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good, the omnipotent. So we have a few announcements today. Some people have been asking about reopening because I know that restaurants have reopened to a certain percentage. And maybe one or two churches. I saw an article in the Kerrville Times, not a lot. There are specific regulations on opening, and we also have some guidelines that we've developed through Unity Worldwide. So we'll be sending out a survey to get your input. The board and I are working on an outline of what measures we will take at whatever point we do decide to open. And just know that it'll be gradual and it'll be at your own comfort level, whatever level of comfort that you have coming into the building, not coming into the building. We'll try to maintain some online presence so there are ways to stay connected. And talking about online presence, we still are carrying on with our Metaphysical Mondays at 6 p.m. and our Wednesday Wisdom at 4 p.m. And on Tuesdays, Patsy Sherman has added, starting last week, a new event that she's hosting via Zoom, and you could find the link to it on our calendar, and we send out an email reminder each week as well. But she's sharing one of the great courses. I'm sure you all are familiar with the many different great courses that are available. This one is Lost Christianities, Christian Scriptures, and the Battles Over Authentication. And it's a very scholarly presentation, and there's watching of the video and then discussion that follows. And so I joined last week. It was really enjoyable, and Patsy's doing a great job putting that together and committing to this over a long period of time. So it'll go into the fall, I believe. And then this week, we moved our Tuesday Tenderness to once a month. And this week, author Rebecca Wynn will come on and share about how she developed the book. I think it's 10,000 Daffodils is the name of the book. It's a spiritual book. It's a series of essays that she's written that are deeply reflective and very powerful. She'll be reading from that. She'll be sharing her creative process, and I think you'll really enjoy getting to know her. She's a friend, and I really admire her and respect her a lot, and I know you'll enjoy getting to know her a little bit. As always, you can find our Sunday services recorded on Facebook. YouTube and unityhillcountry.org. And then Mondays and Wednesdays and the Tuesday events, you'll be able to find recorded on YouTube and unityhillcountry.org. And so today, you've already had a little taste of Paul Hilliard's original music in our intro, but he is going to be the guest speaker and music today. So we'll change up the order of service just a little bit. We'll move straight through from daily word to meditation, and then I'll just turn it over to Paul. So he will sing and he will share with you about his own journey and how his songs reflect a lot of his journey and things that he's learned in his lifetime. And I think you'll really enjoy getting to know Paul better. So prayer requests are submitted online, as well as through, you can email directly or call to the office, or you can go straight to Silent Unity. We pray over the prayers here, the prayer requests, and then we send them on to Silent Unity, where they're held in prayer for 30 days. And as many of you know, prayer has been going on, a constant 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week prayer vigil has been going on at Unity Village for over 130 years. It's a powerful, it's palpable. When you go to Unity's campus, it's just amazing. You can literally feel the prayer, the presence of prayer and the consciousness. And so let's take a moment now. And if you haven't had a chance to send in or mail in or submit a prayer request, go ahead at this time and just send it in. We've got a picture of our prayer box here. Just go ahead and send that in consciousness, and we'll include it in our moment of prayer. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in and slowly release. We're holding all of these prayers, no matter what the prayer is for, whether it's health or relationship, finances. Doesn't make any difference. There's no degree of prayer. There's none more important than the other in the consciousness that we know as God. It's the Christ consciousness that expresses through each and every one of us. We know and we claim through that consciousness. It's been demonstrated thousands of years ago by our way shower. We call Jesus the Christ. We hold this truth for each and every request. We know that the answer from the absolute good in the universe, that divine mind, is always yes, yes, yes. And it is with gratitude and joy that we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. The mission and vision statement for Unity of the Hill Country here in Kerrville, Texas is to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. Our daily word reader today will be Mr. Jack Porter. And Mandy, if you will unmute Jack so that he can share. Mandy.
Hi.
There he is.
Good morning, everyone. The daily word today is world peace. And the affirmation is, I contribute to peace in the world. Can you please repeat with me? I contribute to peace in the world. When I learn of conflict in my community or in the world, my response may be frustration, sadness, or anger. I have those feelings. I remember that I am more than merely human. I am a living expression of God, heir to all that God is. I use my divine faculties as wisdom, understanding, and love to create an abiding peace that is my birthright. Centered in divine peace, I realize that every person as much as an expression of God as I am. As differences dissolve in the way that transcends human understanding, I come to know oneness with all the world's people. I let this realization shape my response to every person and every situation. In the awareness of my oneness with all people, my thoughts, my words, my actions contribute to peace in the world. The scripture today is from John 17:22. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. Let's read the affirmation again, please. I contribute to the peace in the world. Thank you for the opportunity to share this daily word with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. You know, the powerful thing about the daily word is people are reading the daily word all over the world. Millions of people read these same words every day. And when the topic is world peace, it really touches me that in this moment, there's focus on world peace all across the world. And we're a part of that. And I'm so grateful that we get to be a part of that. So now let's take a few moments and just move into a little time of meditation. So if you will, wherever you are, just sit with your both feet on the floor or at least uncrossed. Uncross your hands. And if you can, let your spine be straight. Whether you're lying down or sitting up, just allow your spine to be straight. From the very base of your spine up to the crown of your head, one straight line. Aligning and balancing and allowing for the flow of energy through your body. That life force called prana, alive in each and every one of us. Together, let's take a deep breath in and slowly release. Take another deep breath in. And this time as you release that breath, just notice how your body's just sinking into your chair. Just sinking in and being fully supported by whatever it is that you're sitting on. If it's the couch or the kitchen chair, if you're still lying in bed, it makes no difference. Just allow whatever it is that's holding you right now to fully embrace the weight of your body. Now bring your attention to your breath. Notice as your breath is moving in and flowing out. You're not forcing the breath. You're not breathing any particular way. You're just observing the breath. And then bring your attention to that little gap, that little transition in between breathing in and out. You're not holding your breath. You're just transitioning from in, out. It's just a slight little gap there. Bring your focus to the gap. As your mind becomes quiet, if any thoughts drift in, just allow them. If any discomfort comes in the body, just notice. Any emotions begin to arise, just be with them. Simply being present to what's going on within and around us. If you notice a sound, just be with that sound. We're simply accepting all that is in this moment. From this place of stillness, you can hear that still small voice. The voice of wisdom, of knowing. The voice of love, present as each and every one of us. Together, let's take a deep breath in and release. Just bringing our focus back to this moment and this time, but bringing back with us that connection, that knowing of the divine nature expressing in all. And so it is. Amen. So today, Paul's talk is entitled Chop Wood, Carry Water. And I shared with you here his website. So if you want to learn more about Paul or hear more of his music, he'll be sharing a good bit of it today. But you can look him up at texastoldpaul.com. So I'll stop sharing the slides now. And what's going on with our speaker view? What's going on there?
Supposed to be there? sometimes that's all I've got. Trust. Progress, not perfection. That's my only aim. Better man today than yesterday. I will chop wood, I will carry that water, I will try to do the next right thing. I will chop wood, I will carry that water, and I will try to do the next right thing. Do the work they say, one day at a time. Take it easy on yourself and you will be just fine. Breathe in, breathe out. It's so easy. Just keep it simple and you will be free. I will chop wood, I will carry that water, and I will try to do the next right thing. Yeah, I will chop wood, I will carry that water, and I will try to do the next right thing. I'm stronger than I thought, better than I was. Sometimes that's all I've got that I can trust. Progress, not perfection. That's my only aim. Better man today than yesterday. Yeah, I will chop wood, I will carry that water, and I will try to do the next right thing. Yeah, I will chop wood, I will carry that water, and I will try to do the next right thing. So, I'd like to thank Beverly for inviting me today. She asked me to speak. I thought I really had no idea what I was going to speak about. But I realized that the one topic that is prevalent in my life has been my recovery. And the song I just shared is kind of the story, I guess, of my life. And I'd like to share that with you all today. And it's just the whole idea of just doing the work and keeping it simple. And a little bit about me, I had spent many years as a touring musician, and let's just say that I took it seriously, and it was basically partied pretty hard, and the alcohol and the drug took their toll, let's just say that. And I had no spiritual connection. I had morals, but they were buried in alcohol and drugs and all that. And I ended up, after many years of doing that, with an ulcer and pretty much severe depression. And I don't know whether anybody out there has been subject to the villain that is alcohol, but it's the cause and the cure. I was depressed, and then I would drink to get undepressed, and then more drinking made me more depressed. But in any case, after many years of that, eventually it'll humble you, and you become teachable. And I think that's the beginning of when we start getting better. And for me, it was after, say, many years of just basically trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And finally it just became crumples, broken, teachable. And in the regular world, the secular world, if you will, brokenness and defeat is a negative. But in the spiritual world, brokenness is the beginning of what's next. And in my case, what was next was much better than what I'd been experiencing. So I became teachable, and I just basically learned that to keep it simple and do the work, to chop wood and carry water, and on a daily basis, just do what I needed to do to stay on this path. So here we are, 21 and a half years since I've had any kind of a drink at all of alcohol, and the program has changed my life. And when Beverly asked me to speak, I thought that was the most relevant thing that I could think of was to speak about my recovery. And my church, if you will, became the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. It became my sobriety. And during that period of time, I found that I really did get a spiritual connection. And I found that there was a higher power. And that became basically a basis of my living and changed everything. And I have a couple more songs that I'd like to share with you. This next song is called The Book, and I wrote it a number of years ago, and I didn't really write it for anybody specifically, and then I played it for Beverly, and she said, wow, that sounds like maybe the way your God appeared in your life. And I said, yeah. So basically, I think I wrote this song about God having appeared in my life and knowing me well before I knew him or her or it, whatever you want to call God. And the song is called The Book, and it talks to me about knowing God before I knew, or God knew me before I knew God. Sometimes when you talk to me, like you're reading from the book that I wrote about you a long, long time ago, before we met, years before you came into my life. Where did you come from? Where have you been? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? How did you know the time was right? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? Sometimes when you touch me, sometimes when you touch me, you're reading from the part where my dreams come true. I don't understand just how you knew what was written in my heart long before I met you. Where did you come from? Where have you been? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? How did you know the time was right? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? Where did you come from? Where have you been? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? How did you know the time was right? Why did you wait so long to come into my life? Sometimes when you talk to me, you think you're reading from the book that I wrote about you. I wrote that song many years, actually before I wrote that song 25 years ago, and it was before I even found out about this thing called recovery. And I know that a lot of people listening today are not subject to the tyranny that I was subject to of alcohol or drugs, but I think a lot of us can still understand the concept of recovering from something that had a hold on us and was preventing us from growing and moving and living and becoming more of who we were meant to be. And that song was written before I discovered the program, and it changed my life. And in the last 21 and a half years, my life has been completely transformed in every way possible. Not just that my ulcer is no longer an issue, and I'm no longer depressed, and my relationship with my daughters has gotten better. And I found a higher power, and that changed everything. And then recently I had an interesting experience. I spent a week at the house with no heat. Remember last, I guess it was November, December, right before this whole COVID thing hit, there was a cold spell and I didn't have my heat on in my house yet. And I sat in my house and I wrote 14 songs in 14 days. And this song that I am going to play for you, in retrospect, was kind of a song I wrote, again, about God. And it's called You Are. And again, at the time I wrote it, I hadn't really thought about it being a particularly godlike or spiritual song. But in retrospect, it came back to me that that's who I was writing to. And it's called You Are. You are a song I haven't heard. You are words I haven't learned. You are air I haven't breathed. You are all that to me. You are what I do not know. You are what you can't make me see. You are everywhere I've been. You are everywhere I'll be. You are. You are. You are days that lay ahead. You are every single thing that I dread. You are my hope. You are my fear. You are far, but you are near. You are. You are. Oh, you are faith that shall believe. You are faith no one can see. You are air I haven't breathed. You are all that to me. You are. You are. You are. You are. You are. And the crowd goes wild. So this is kind of interesting, this whole Zoom thing. So I'm just going to assume that y'all listening and you're digging it because I'm used to playing for actual people and getting interaction. So I'd like to thank Beverly again for inviting me into her house, and I'd like to thank you for inviting me into your house this morning. to share my message of hope and strength and recovery. And that, you know, I guess about 2 months ago when I first met Beverly and was invited to this church, they did the white stone ceremony. And my white stone that I wrote on, what I wrote on was hope. And that's been the whole theme of this year for me has been about hope. And I think for me, that's what recovery means. It's because as an active addict, there is no hope, because the only hope you have is your next drink or your next fix or whatever it happens to be. And then you get it and it still doesn't work. And then you can't live with it. You can't live without it. And if it gets to a point where there is no hope. And when we lose hope, I think that we lose everything. Because I think that for me, for this recovering person, when I have hope, I have everything I need. And that's what the program gave me, was hope. And it changed everything for me. And no longer was I living in a place of bleakness and despair and depression. I was living in a place of hope and joy. And, you know, there's bad days. I still have bad days, but instead of going to the bottle, I go for a run, or I call a friend, or I'd like to say I pray, but that's probably stretching, because I'm not that spiritual yet. But I have my moments where I do get on my knees and pray. But I'm kind of a 911 kind of prayer guy. Okay? I'm not like I'm not that evolved spiritually where I just pray a lot. I should do more and meditate. But in any case, I do have a power greater than myself that I can do business with today. And I realize that it's not all or nothing. It's not a black or white transformation. And I have sponsees in the program who have been discouraged that they went to a meeting and then they drank, or they went to a meeting and they fell down and they were depressed. And I think the understanding that helped me was when I realized it's a process, and it's not an all or nothing. It's not an overnight thing that just happens. And even if we don't do it perfectly, we still do it and we still show up. And for me, that made all the difference, is when I realized that I didn't have to do it perfectly, that it didn't have to be all or nothing. And because that's what my drinking was, and my using was all or nothing. It was, I either had it or I didn't. I was either on top of the world or I was on the bottom of the world. There was nothing in between. So I learned through years of working the program and being sober and having a spiritual connection that I didn't have to live in that world of black or white. There is joy in between. And sometimes when you're focused on the opposite ends, you lose the middle. You lose that moment. You're concerned with tomorrow and you're obsessing about yesterday. And then we forget that there's this moment right now that we have. And that's all we have, is right now. There's never going to be anything other than right now. This is a song I wrote. I played it for Beverly a while back. Well, it wasn't that while. We haven't known each other that long. But in any case, and she said, I like that song. And I said, okay, maybe I should share it with your people. This is something called Somewhere in Between. And this also, interestingly enough, was written before I went into recovery. So I was kind of maybe foretelling better things ahead. I spend half my life trying to hold on. I spend the other half learning to let go. Why is it so hard doing both? I spend half my life pleasing someone else. And I spend the other half trying to please myself and finding out I don't balance that so very well. But now seems I'm lost somewhere in between, and I'm unsure which way to turn. But I know that someone's watching over me. There's a lesson here to be learned somewhere in between. I spend half my life concerned about tomorrow. And I spend the other half regretting yesterday and trying to figure out what happened today. But now seems I'm lost somewhere in between, and I'm unsure which way to turn. But I know someone's watching over me, and there's a lesson here to be learned somewhere in between. I spend half my life trying to hold on, and I spend the other half learning to let go. Why is it so hard to know? But now it seems I'm lost somewhere in between, and I'm unsure which way to turn. But I know that someone's watching over me. There's a lesson here to be learned somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. Can you imagine the pressure that was off of me when I realized that? I mean, did you feel what I felt right there? There's a moment when you realize that you don't have to polarize. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be completely imperfect. You can be in between. You can be progressing. And it's in the program, it's one of the things that keeps us sober, I guess you could say, is the thought process that is progress. It's not perfection. And that's what that song is about. And we're all in a process, and we're all born to go to the same place eventually. We'll all go to light speed, and whatever you believe, once we go to light speed, that's individual. But in the meantime, we have the process, and that's what that song is about. It's about the process of getting well, as is this song. I hadn't really planned on it, but this made me think about this song. I hope, I dream, I pray that I get well. 'Cause someday, what am I gonna do till then? What am I gonna do till I get better? What am I gonna do till I can see the light? I live, I love, I pray. Lord, I will be free someday. But what am I gonna do till then? What am I gonna do till I get better? What see the light. Only time will tell what's in store. Only time will tell. I hope, I dream, pray. Lord, I will get well someday. What am I gonna do till then? What am I gonna do till I get better? What am I gonna do? I can see the light. So I'm getting the book. So I have time to do one more. And this brings me to the final moments in my speech. And thank you again, Beverly, for having me. It's truly an honor to be here today. It brings to me the topic of grace, which is the only reason I'm even here. And grace isn't something we can earn. It's not something we can buy. It's something that the universe, it naturally occurs in the universe. Amazing grace, how sweet to save a wretch like me, who I once was lost. Oh, but now I'm found. I was blind. I see. We'll work for food. We've all seen the sign. Did you ever stop and think that could be you or I? Hold up our windows and wish they'd go away. But the harder we try to ignore them, the harder it is to deny. The more we pretend we don't see them, the more that we realize. And for the grace of God, go I. And for the grace of God, go I. Wheels instead of legs, white canes in a bag. Physical indifference, I tend to go inside. For hey, they're contagious, so we leave them alone. But the harder we try to ignore them, the harder it is to deny. The more we pretend we don't see them, the more that we realize. For the grace of God, go I. And for the grace of God, go I. Amazing grace, how sweet sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost. Oh, now I'm found. I was blind. I see. Again, thank you for having me. And my name is Texas Tall Paul, and I am honored and thrilled to be here as your guest tonight. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon. For the grace of God, for the grace of God, go I.
Okay, I'm just going to jump right in front of him. I'm not going to try to switch back and forth to the slides to wrap up and to throw up the offering slide because we've had a little technical challenge. And if you do review back to the video, you'll see that I couldn't get the screen to show him fully. And so anyway, you at home have been enjoying it, I'm sure. And so thank you all for those of you who have been contributing online, who've been mailing in your tithes and offerings. It means everything to us during this time. We will be coming back together and watching the mail because we'll be sending out some information about how we'll unfold the reopening. And we end every week with our prayer for protection. So we'll just say that right now, and you can say it at home. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. And wherever we are, God is. Okay, so I'm going to switch it to galley view and unmute everybody so that we can have our greeting time. And that way, if you will also want to turn on your cameras, and if you want to, you can give a little applause there. I don't know if clapping will sound so great on the recording. Did we unmute everybody? Let's see. Everybody's unmuted. Okay, now.
Hello,
Let's say hello. Hey,
Beverly. Good music.
hi, Mark and Gayleen.
How long can we go to the end?
Hetty.
Okay.
I know there's more people on here. Hi, Kara.
Hi, Beverly.
There's Dave. Hi, Dave. Did you enjoy
Hi,
Paul's
Bev.
talk?
Hello, Beverly.
Hey, Odie.
Hi, Beverly.
Hetty. Did you enjoy Paul's talk and song?
Very good music. I did. Very good.
Good.
Very nice.
Well, let me stop the recording.